Bottom of the third inning, it's 2-0 St. Francis. One out, Kayla Garcia stands at first base, and Ashley Gallison is the hitter here. Gallison is 0 for 1. She popped out to third base her first time up. Garcia walks. She stands at first. She was hit by a pitch her first time up. So she's been on twice without having to swing the bat as Gallison takes a ball high. 3 walks in the game now issued by Maddie Jansen. She's hit 2 batters. Saints only have 1 hit in the game, but they have the 2-0 lead. Gallison came up with the bases loaded in the first inning. 1 out at the time. She was unable to come up with an RBI. Trying to make amends here with a good hitter's count. 2 balls and no strikes. There's a ball low. It's 3-0. Allie Belandis popped out to the catcher to begin the inning. Garcia walked, and now Gallison does the same. Jansen having all kinds of problems throwing strikes today. 4 walks, 2 hit batters, 2 wild pitches, and Haley Length will come to bat. Maddie Jansen has been the best starting pitcher this year for Roosevelt with her .343 ERA. Bryn Arwood is the number 2 starter. Her earned run average is 5.9. Team ERA 4.9. Garcia will be pinch run for here. Destiny Gonzalez in to run at second base. This seems like a more natural time to have a pinch runner. The beginning of the at-bat for Haley Length, who stands in for the second time. She's 0 for 1. She saw 9 pitches before finally flying out to center field to end the first inning. Length swings at the first pitch, flies it out to shallow right, backing up and making the grab is Kelly Jones from second base. The runners stay put. Second out of the inning. Saints haven't had a huge day offensively. They've got the lead because of the wildness of the starting pitcher for Roosevelt. But their big hitters really haven't gotten too much to hit. Becca Stanton is 0 for 1. She struck out swinging to lead off the second inning. 3 strikeouts so far in the game for Jansen, so when she's hit her spot, she's been effective. First pitch to Stanton is fouled off for strike 1. She just hasn't hit her spots quite often enough. Gonzalez at second, Gallison at first. Ground ball to the left side. Bobbled by the shortstop Hush. She has no play. Gonzalez slides into third base safely. Gallison stands up at second, and Becca Stanton reaches on the bobble by the shortstop Haley Huss. They are loaded. This is the second time today that St. Francis has loaded the bases, and in both scenarios, they did so without a single hit. We're in the bottom of the third inning. There have only been 2 hits in the game. Caitlin Rolniak doubled for the Saints last inning, and Cam Wickers singled for the Lakers in the top half of this frame. A meeting on the mound with Katie Neubauer going out to talk with the starting pitcher. Roosevelt 10-20 this year. Tough start to the conference season at 3-13. First year head coach Aaron Moore trying to make this program competitive. Well, they've had their moments this year, but not enough of them in conference play. Rolniak has the Saints' only hit today. She'll need another one to get a run in here with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And Rolniak takes the first pitch for strike 1. I say that she'll need a hit to get a run in, but the fact is that neither of the runs that have scored so far came on hits. Both were on 2-out wild pitches. Fouled back, 0-2. This is an identical spot, actually, to the one we had in the first inning. The bases were loaded with 2. 2-0 St. Francis after 3 innings of play. Roosevelt coming to bat in the 4th with their 2, 3, and 4 hitters Green, Huss, and Santiago. 10 batters have come to the plate for Roosevelt so far. Derringer has struck out 8 of them. The other 2 have each reached base. Kelly Jones got aboard on a 2-out error in the 2nd inning. She was then caught stealing. Cam Wicker singled with 1 out in the 3rd, the only hit so far today for the Lakers. She was stranded at first the rest of that inning, or rather, where pinch runner was. So Green will try to get a rally started in the 4th. They haven't had a leadoff base runner yet. Amber Green tries to check her swing on the first pitch. And she does not. On appeal, she went around for strike 1. Green went down swinging on a 4-pitch at bat back in the 1st inning. Pops this ball up right side, and coming over to drop the ball is Carricker. She tries to pick it up and step on the bag, but can't handle it. So that's an error on Carricker. And the leadoff batter is aboard for Roosevelt, 3rd base runner of the game for the Lakers, and that has been the most effective strategy offensively for them today. Just pop the ball up on the infield. That's happened twice, and both times the pop-up has been unable to be handled by St. Francis. Kayla Garcia, the first baseman, committed an error in the 2nd inning. It's not Garcia over at first base now. It's Carolyn Roberts playing first. And she certainly had a chance to make that catch, but misjudged it slightly. Brooke Carricker, though, the one to come over on the ball and drop it. Carricker, primarily an outfielder. She's been the starting left fielder for this team since she walked through the door a couple of years ago as a freshman. And over the last few weeks, she's been playing more and more second base. But she was not able to make that play, and a pop-up hit in the air like that, you would think that's the ball she'd be more comfortable catching as a natural outfielder. But in and out of the glove, she may have had a chance. Even after dropping that ball, to pick it up and step on first for the force out. But she rushed it a little bit and was unable to pick up the ball successfully. Brooke Lee is in as a pinch runner at first base in place of Amber Green. So Lee is at first. Haley Huss in the batter's box. Nobody out in the top of the 4th inning. Infield outfielder. In as a pinch runner at first base. Haley Huss represents the tying run in the batter's box, and she takes strike 2. The count is full. 2nd full count that Derringer has faced today. The first one, Caitlin Santiago back in the 2nd, ended with a strikeout. This one ends with a walk. 4th base runner of the game for Roosevelt. First walk issued today by Derringer. Lee advances to second base, and there are 2 on with nobody out. And now Derringer's in a little bit of trouble for as good as she's been. The game has remained tight today. Ball 1 low. Runners started to move, but Lee returns to second base. 1-0 on Santiago, 0 for 1. She struck out swinging in the 2nd. St. Francis prepared for a bunt here. Instead, Santiago swings away. And the ball, loose from behind home plate, gets away from Stanton. The runners advance. So no need for a bunt. The runners move up to second and third base. Still nobody out. The count is 1-1 on Santiago. Derringer's got a 2-run lead as the next pitch comes in high. That's ball 2. There's a little margin for error, but it's amazing how much Derringer has outpitched Maddie Jansen today, and yet it's Derringer who's in the big trouble now with 2 runners in scoring position and nobody out. And another ball thrown on Caitlin Santiago. The count is 3-1. Santiago threatening to load the bases with Taylor Sturkowitz on deck. And the next pitch is taken for a strike. This would be a fine time for one of Derringer's strikeouts. 8 of 9 outs have been recorded in that manner today. And she needs one right here. Popped up foul and out of play. Still 3-2. The inning began with Amber Green reaching on a dropped pop-up. Haley Huss walked. They're at second and third now. There's a check swing foul tip. The at-bat goes on. Santiago didn't mean to go there, just barely got a piece of it. Not sure if it was in the strike zone. If she hadn't hit it, it may have been ball 4. 8th pitch of the at-bat coming up, and it's another foul ball. We'll see a 9th pitch in this great battle between Roosevelt's cleanup hitter Caitlin Santiago and St. Francis's ace Morgan Derringer. Santiago, just a 208 hitter. She swings and misses for strike 3. Finally, she goes down after working hard trying to get the runners in. She does advance the runners. Not necessarily through anything she did, but they did move up with her in the batter's box when Becca Stanton missed the ball on strike 1. So, in a sense, Santiago gets a job done, but she had a bigger opportunity with a runner at third base and less than 2 outs. She couldn't make contact and get that run home. So now it'll be up to Taylor Sturkowitz. Sturkowitz is 0 for 1. She struck out swinging in the second inning. Conference in the pitcher's circle before Sturkowitz comes up to bat. She's fallen behind each of the last 2 hitters. She came back to strike out Santiago. Now it's even on Sturkowitz, who takes ball 3 high. Derringer was mowing him down early in the game. Not only did she strike out 8 of the first 10 batters, but she did it very quickly. She's laboring this inning. A 3-2 pitch, swung on and missed, strike 3. The last 3 hitters have all seen full counts from Derringer, but she's gotten the last 2 in a row. 10 strikeouts in the game now, and Kelly Jones is the final hope for Roosevelt to get some runs here in the 4th. Brooke Lee is at third base, Haley Huss is at second, and Kelly Jones takes ball 1. Jones is 0 for 1, but she was the first player for Roosevelt to put the ball in play when she popped it up on the infield back in the second inning. Kayla Garcia missed the ball, and Jones ended up on first base. She was eventually caught stealing. She swings through this pitch, 1-1. Green led off the inning, reaching on an error. Huss walked, but back-to-back strikeouts ever since for Morgan Derringer. Now it's 2-1 on Jones. Another hitter's count. Strike called, it's 2-2. Derringer 1 strike away from getting out of a dangerous 4th inning. She's fallen behind 4 consecutive hitters now, but she's gotten the last 2, looking to make it 3 straight strikeouts. The 2-2 pitch. Downstairs, yet another full count. 4 of 5 hitters this inning have worked it full. Only 1, though, has reached of those first 3. Payoff pitch, misses high. Second walk from Derringer this inning. Second walk issued by Derringer in the game. And Christina Yeager hits with the bases loaded and 2 outs. A situation that looks all too familiar to St. Francis. They've done this twice today, loading the bases with 2 outs. Yeager takes the first pitch from Derringer for strike 1. 0 for 1 with a strikeout today. This is the 3rd time for the 2 offenses combined that the bases have been loaded. Yeager swings and misses, 0-2. I don't know if I've ever seen this before, where 3 times in the first 4 innings of a game the bases have been loaded, and in all 3 scenarios, not one of the people on base reached on a hit. Yeager takes the ball high, pickoff throw to first, nearly got her. But Jones dives back to the bag. 1-2 the count, still 2 outs in the inning. Lee at third, Huss at second, Jones at first. And for the first time all inning, Derringer has gotten ahead of a hitter. 1-2 pitch, struck her out swinging, and the inning is over. Derringer strikes out the side again. This one a little bit more bumpy in between. 2 walks and an error. Roosevelt loads the bases. They do not score. We've reached the halfway point of this game. St. Francis leads 2-0. St. Francis by a pair in the bottom of the fourth inning. 9-1-2 due up. Paige Egan, Anna Weatherall, Brooke Carricker against Maddie Jansen. Jansen has struggled through 3 innings. She's walked 4 batters. She's hit 2, but she's only given up 1 hit. And as a result, she's been able to get out of it with only 2 runs allowed, keeping her team in the game. Her offense really had a chance last inning, though, to get Roosevelt back in it. They had a chance to tie, even take the lead. The bases were loaded with 2 outs. They didn't score, but prior to that, they had runners at second and third with nobody out. A prime opportunity to get at least a run in. And Morgan Derringer pitched her way out of it by striking out 3 batters. Paige Egan batting for the first time today. She has run the bases once. She takes a ball. She was in the initial starting lineup in right field. Lena Mito pinch hit for her and walked back in the second, but Egan came back in to run for Mito. Ground ball up the middle. Backhanded stop at second base by Kelly Jones. She throws to first base. Not near. Ball 4 high. Second time today that Anna Weatherall has walked on 4 pitches. 5th walk of the ball game issued by Maddie Jansen. Paige Egan advances to second base. Great speed on the base paths for the Fighting Saints. Nobody out. Brooke Carricker coming up to bat. 2 times through the batting order. Carricker is one of only 2 Saints not to have reached base yet today, so she'd like to change that right here. Come up with a hit and drive in a run, potentially. She squares up to bunt, though, and takes ball 1 low. Not sure it's even worth it to try to bunt in this scenario just because Jansen's been so wild. You just put the bat on your shoulder, there's a good chance you'll advance the runners and maybe get on base yourself. Carricker is second on the team with 4 sacrifice hits this year. We'll see if they still have her bunting with a 1-0 count. She does drop it down, back to the pitcher. Jansen throws to first, gets the out, 1-4 on the putout. The runners advance, a successful sacrifice for Carricker, her 5th this year. Weatherall is at second base, Egan is at third, and there's 1 down for Allie Belandis. Belandis is 0 for 1. She popped out to the catcher her last time up. Back in the first inning, she was hit by a pitch and scored a run. She has homered in 2 straight games. She takes the first pitch from Jansen for strike 1. Both of those home runs came in the first inning, though. She homered in the first in both halves of Tuesday's doubleheader at Indiana South Bend. Prevented from keeping her first inning home run streak alive today by getting hit by the very first pitch she saw. Ball high, 1-1. Saints have led 2-0 ever since the first inning. They've had multiple base runners in every inning since, but have as yet not been able to score. Ball outside, 2-1. They've left 6 on base for the game. Just 2 hits, 1 for Rolniak, 1 for Egan. Jansen has walked 5. Ball low, 3-1. She's given out 7 base runners today, 5 on walks and 2 on hit by pitch. That makes it 66 on the season in 67 innings. And there's the 67th free base runner that she's given this year. So that's exactly 1 per inning. As Belandis draws the 1-out walk, Weatherall at second base walked as well. And once again, the bases are loaded. This time it's a little bit different because there was a hit thrown in there. Infield single and 2 walks. 4 innings today. St. Francis had loaded the bases 3 times. And Kayla Garcia's got a chance to come up with the big hit. Garcia already has knocked in 37 runs in just 32 games this year. She has no official at-bats today. She was hit by a pitch in the first. She walked in the third. Garcia has a team-high 21 extra base hits with 10 home runs and 11 doubles. She can really break this game open with a big hit. First pitch to Garcia misses for ball one. Jansen's next offering. Taken for a strike. The count is even. Jansen's got to be very careful here. She doesn't want to give Garcia something too easy to hit, but that's preferable right now to what has been happening. She's not been able to throw strikes all game. And she misses the zone again here for ball two. Now, you'd rather see St. Francis earn the runs if they are going to get them. Back in the first inning, a walk, 2 hit by pitches, 2 wild pitches. That's how the 2 runs scored. Garcia takes the ball outside. It's 3-1. One more miss from Jansen, and it'll be a 3-0 game. Belandis at first, Weatherall at second, Egan is at third base. Only 1 out in the inning, and that was on a sacrifice bunt. Garcia takes ball 4. She reaches base for the 3rd time today. Egan crosses home plate. It's a 3-0 game. 6th walk today issued by Maddie Jansen, and that's enough, I suppose. Aaron Moore comes out, grabs the ball from the starting pitcher, hands it off to the reliever, and I'll tell you all about her in just a moment. I'll step aside for now. Bases still loaded with 1 out, 3-0. Saints lead in the 4th. With a bases loaded walk moments ago. Belandis is at second base. She walked earlier in the inning. Anna Weatherall's at third. She also reached on a walk. 1-0 pitch to Gallison finds the zone. Strike 1. Paige Egan reached on an infield single to begin the inning. She has scored, chasing Maddie Jansen from this afternoon's contest. Ball low, 2-1. Jansen's line is not totally written yet, because all 3 base runners belong to her, but she lasted only 3 1/3 innings today. She wasn't hit hard, only gave up 2 hits, one of them an infield single. Swing and a miss, 2-2. But she walked 6 batters and hit 2. All 3 runs allowed are earned. Ball low, 3-2, though none of them came in on a hit. 2 on wild pitches with a runner at third base and 1 on a bases loaded walk. Full count on Gallison. She swings and rolls it foul to the third base side. The count remains full. Haley Length waits on deck. Gallison is the 6th hitter of the inning. The only one so far to be retired is Brooke Carricker. And she essentially retired herself, dropping down a sacrifice bunt that moved the runners ahead. Ball 4 low. One pitcher leaves, another enters, and it's the same story. 4th walk of the inning. Anna Weatherall comes in to score. 4-0 St. Francis. Allie Belandis moves to third base. Kayla Garcia is at second, and Ashley Gallison picks up an RBI. It's her 28th this year. So now it's Haley Length taking ball 1. Length hitless on the day. Has not reached base yet today. A fly out to center, a pop out to second in her first 2 at-bats. Next pitch misses over her head. 2 balls, no strikes. Length swings and grounds it past the third baseman and out to left field. 1 run scores. Garcia held at third base. They're still loaded. Length is aboard. Belandis scores. It's 5-0. 4 consecutive base runners for St. Francis. Gallison at second base. Garcia at third, Length at first. Becca Stanton is the 8th batter this inning. Stanton takes a ball in the dirt, 1-0. RBI single for Length is her 9th run batted in this year. 2nd hit of the inning, 3rd of the game for St. Francis. Stanton bounces one off her foot, a foul ball. It's 1-1. Becca Stanton is 0 for 2. She struck out swinging in the second inning, reached on an error in the third. She lines this ball towards third base, just foul. Garcia ducked out of the way. The ball landed just inches wide of the bag. A ball and 2 strikes. Stanton waits back on that ball and lines it foul to the third base side. Still 1 and 2. Slow ball from Brianna McCormick. Stanton held up her swing, still out in front of it though. Both runs that have scored against the new pitcher were charged to the starters. That ball is rolled to the shortstop. Throw goes to first, and Stanton is retired, but the runners all advance, and that means another run scores. Garcia across the plate on the RBI ground out for Stanton, 6-0. Gallison to third, length to second with 2 down for Caitlin Rolniak. Rolniak 1 for 2 with a double and a flyout. Ball 1 low. So now you can officially close the book on Maddie Jansen. Both runners on base now belong to Brianna McCormick. 6 runs allowed in 3 1/3 innings, all of them earned. Rolniak takes a strike. The count is 1-1. Next one from McCormick is grounded foul. And the Saints are out of their final strike of the inning. Stanton picked up an RBI on her ground out. That's number 18 this year for the catcher. One and 2 on Rolniak, who's trying to pick up at least 1 RBI of her own. Runners at second and third, 2 outs. The 1-2 pitch, swung on and missed, inning over. Rolniak strikes out against McCormick, but the Saints bat around. They score 4 runs on just 2 hits. We'll move into the 5th inning of play, 6-0. St. Francis has the lead. Top of the 5th inning, St. Francis has extended their lead. It had been 2-0, now 6-0. The Saints lead the Lakers. Cam Wicker's got the only Roosevelt hit so far today, and Wicker leads off the 5th, taking ball 1. She singled back in the 3rd inning. Was stranded at first base. Fouled back off the screen, 1-1. Morgan Derringer has been outstanding today. She has recorded 11 of her 12 outs on strikeouts. The only one that wasn't was a caught stealing. Popped foul and out of play, just beyond the reach of Becca Stanton behind home plate, 1-2. Every player who has put the ball in play for Roosevelt today has reached base, but they have not done so very often. Their best scoring chance came in the 4th. They had runners at second and third with nobody out, and eventually the bases loaded with 2 outs and never scored. Ball up and away, 2-2. At the time, it was a 2-0 game. 1 run would have been huge, but they had the chance to put up a crooked number and couldn't get anything off of Derringer. Fouled away, still 2-2. And in the next half inning, St. Francis blew it open with 4 runs on just 2 hits. 2 singles, 4 walks in the inning. And the Saints now in total control of this game, just 9 outs away from a win. Strike 3 at the knees. Wicker is retired for out number 1. 12 strikeouts for Derringer in 4 1/3 innings. That'll bring Bethany Hart back to the plate. Hart shows bunt on the first pitch, pulls the bat back, takes a strike over the inside corner. Hart is 0 for 1. She struck out swinging in the 3rd inning. Ball high, 1-1. Well, now that Wicker has gone down on strikes, there's only one batter in today's game that Derringer has not struck out. That's Kelly Jones. Jones has walked and reached on an error. Ball low, 2-1. She'll get another chance, one would think. She's due to hit at least once more in this game. As long as the Saints don't pour on the runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. Ball low, 3-1. 1 out, nobody on base. Derringer has had a few problems falling behind hitters the last couple of innings. After not experiencing that through the first few. Strike called, full count. She walked 2 batters in the 4th. This is the 5th batter out of the last 7 to have seen 3 balls from Derringer. Full count pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. 3rd straight strikeout for Derringer. Her 13th of the game. Her longest streak is 5 consecutive batters who struck out. That happened to open the game. Now she's fanned 3 in a row, 2 of them swinging. And Rachel Kubis bats with 2 down, nobody on base. Kubis has struck out twice today, once swinging, once looking, and she's at a quick disadvantage in this at-bat. No balls, 1 strike. Derringer looking for her second 1-2-3 into the game, and she's 1 strike away. Amazing to think that she's only had 1. She struck out the side in the 1st. Since then, they've had at least 1 base runner each inning. That could change here. The 0-2 popped up. Left side, foul ground, but playable. The catch is made up against the screen by Caitlin Rolniak. Inning over. First time today that Derringer has gotten an out on a hitter and it wasn't a strikeout. She'll take it any way she can get it. A 1-2-3 5th. We move to the bottom of the inning. St. Francis 6, Roosevelt nothing. Bottom of the 5th, Paige Egan leads off for St. Francis, up by 6 runs. Egan leading off for the 2nd straight inning. She takes strike 1 across the knees. Egan is 1 for 1 with an infield single. That came leading off the 4th. She eventually came in to score on a bases-loaded Kayla Garcia walk. Running start, she lines it off the glove of the second baseman Kelly Jones. It ricochets out to center field. Egan is aboard to start her 2nd straight inning. Hard hit ball by Paige Egan, and she works her way on base. Did hit right off the glove of Kelly Jones, though. Catch she should have made. Defense has been lacking in some ways in today's game. Anna Weatherall takes ball 1 in the dirt, and it skips away from the catcher. Egan takes second base. That ball didn't get far away from Wicker. She kept it in front of her. Egan was not immediate to take off for second base, but Wicker was a little bit slow to get to that ball. And Derringer has struck out 13. Roosevelt pitchers have fanned 4. Ball in the dirt, 2-2. Saints have committed a couple of errors. Lakers have had some trouble on defense. There's a ball in the dirt. It gets away. Brooke Carricker walks. Egan advances to third. That's the 4th wild pitch of the game. Thrown by a Roosevelt pitcher, and they're at the corners with 1 out for Allie Belandis. So Carricker is aboard now. All 9 have reached base. I should say all 10, because Lena Mito came up as a pinch hitter in the second inning and she walked. So all 10 batters to come to the plate today for the Saints have reached base. Well, now Carricker is being asked to return to the batter's box. They may have had the count wrong. It was only ball 3. So it's 3-2 now rather than a walk. Egan did still advance to third because it was a wild pitch. But Carricker will have to remain in the batter's box. Amanda Jensen, make a quick explanation for the umpire. For what it's worth, I only had it at 2 balls. Carricker ran to first base with such confidence, I was inclined to believe her. Ball 3. It's a full count. Now a swing and a drive out to deep left field, back towards the fence. That ball is going to one-hop the fence, and it'll be an extra base hit for Carricker. Egan comes in to score. Brooke Carricker has a double, and I think Roosevelt wants that walk back. It's an RBI for Brooke Carricker. It's a 7-0 lead for St. Francis. And Belandis will come up with a runner at second base, and only 1 out in the 5th. Brooke Carricker has her 36th run batted in this year on her 9th 2-base hit. That one just missed leaving the park. Belandis takes a first pitch strike from McCormick. Allie is 0 for 1 today with a pop out. She's also walked and been hit by a pitch and scored 2 runs. Strike 2 called. And the pitcher ahead in the count here. Belandis trying to put the game away right here. The 0-2. Liner to left. That's a base hit. Carricker is being waved around. The throw comes in from Kubitz. It's cut off. Brooke Carricker scores and gives the Saints the 8-0 lead. It's not official yet because the play continues. Belandis caught in a rundown between first and second. She's tagged out, and that is how the game will end. The Saints take the 8-0 lead in the bottom of the 5th inning, and it's become a runaway. And with the 8-run rule in effect, it is in the win column for the Fighting Saints. They pick up their 29th victory of the season. They improve to 13-2 in conference, and it's kind of a shame that this one ends after 5 because I would like to have seen how many strikeouts Morgan Derringer could have ended up with. She'll finish with 13 in 5 innings. Allie Belandis has the walk-off hit and has the rare fortune of being tagged out between first and second base to end a game that her team has won. So she makes the final out, but also picks up the final RBI. 8-0 our final. Let's go over the scoring in this game. St. Francis got it started with 2 runs in the first inning. They loaded the bases on a walk and 2 hit by pitches. They scored both runs on 2 out bases loaded wild pitches thrown by Maddie Jansen. They led 2-0, and that remained the score for a while. Roosevelt had a chance to tie or even take the lead in the 4th inning when they put runners at second and third with nobody out. They eventually loaded the bases but did not score off of Morgan Derringer in the 4th. In the bottom of that inning, St. Francis broke it open. Paige Egan singled. Anna Weatherall walked. Allie Belandis walked. Bases were loaded with 1 out. Kayla Garcia brought home a run on a bases-loaded free pass that made it 3-0. Then with a new pitcher, Brianna McCormick in the game, Ashley Gallison picked up an RBI on a base on balls. It was 4-0. An RBI single for Haley Length made it 5-0, and an RBI groundout for Becca Stanton made it 6-0. St. Francis ended the game in the 5th inning. Paige Egan led off the inning with a base hit. She scored on a Brooke Carricker 1-out double. That made it 7-0, and Allie Belandis' single made it an 8-0 final score. Our totals in today's game: for Roosevelt, no runs, just 1 hit, 1 error. For St. Francis, 8 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors. It's a rare game that ends on the 8-run rule with only 6 hits for the winning team. And for a while it looked like they might be able to do it with 3 or 4 hits because there had been so many walks earlier in the game. The winning pitcher is Morgan Derringer. She improves to 14-3 on the season. In her 5 innings, she did not allow a run, just 1 hit. She struck out 13. and walked 2. The losing pitcher is Maddie Jansen. She falls to 2-7. She allowed 6 runs, all of them earned in 3 1/3 innings. Jansen only allowed 3 hits in the game, but she walked 6 and hit 2 batters in taking the loss. St. Francis now 29-4 overall, 13-2 in conference. Roosevelt 10-21, 3-14.